Ever wonder how your social media feed loads in a flash? Or how an e-commerce site can handle millions of people shopping all at once? Well, the answer lies in some pretty powerful tech that totally flip the script on how we think about data. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on NoSQL, the engine that powers our incredibly fast, data-driven world. Let's dive in. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at the problem, why the old way of doing things hit a wall. Then, we'll introduce the solution, NoSQL, and meet its 4 main flavors. After that, we'll see how it all works with a real-world example. And finally, we'll wrap up by figuring out when it's the right tool for the job. Okay, part 1. So let's turn back the clock a bit. For decades, the entire digital world pretty much ran on one type of database. But then the internet exploded, and suddenly we were facing a brand new, massive challenge.
So on one side, you have your traditional relational databases. Think of these like a super organized library where every single book has a specific place on a specific shelf. They're built on rigid tables and have a predefined structure, or a schema, which is like a strict blueprint for your data. Fantastic for keeping things consistent. But on the other side, the modern web. And it's not neat and tidy. It's a tsunami of data, huge volume, blinding speed, and all sorts of different data types that just won't fit into those neat little boxes. It was a total mismatch.
Something had to give, right? This clash basically demanded a whole new approach. And the solution wasn't just a new piece of software. Nope. It was a completely different way of thinking about how to store and manage information. And that brings us to NoSQL, which stands for Not Only SQL. Now, this isn't one single product. It's a whole family of databases, an entire category, all built from the ground up for the beautiful chaos of the modern internet. Forget the rigid blueprint. These are designed to be flexible, to scale out across tons of machines, and to handle all the messy, unpredictable data that today's apps create. This slide gets to the very heart of the difference. It's a philosophical battle, really. Traditional databases live by a strict code called ACID. Think about a bank transfer. Every single step has to succeed, all at once, perfectly. It's all or nothing. But many NoSQL databases follow a different philosophy, BASE. They prioritize being basically available, meaning the system pretty much always responds. It accepts that data might be in a soft state for a moment and will become eventually consistent. You know when you update your profile picture, it might take a few seconds for all your friends to see the new one. That's eventual consistency in action. You're trading that immediate perfect consistency for incredible speed and availability.
So, like I said, NoSQL isn't just one thing. It's a family of databases, and we can break it down into 4 main types. Think of them as a team of specialists, where you call in the right expert for the specific job you have.
First up, we have the simplest and quite often the fastest member of the team, key value stores. The concept here is dead simple. Imagine a giant, super fast digital dictionary. You have a unique key, like a user's ID, and a corresponding value, which could be all their profile data. That's it. Key value. Because of this simplicity, they can find things incredibly quickly, which makes them perfect for stuff like caching website data or storing a user's session information for a speedy lookup.
All right, let's move on to our next type. This one has become a massive favorite among developers, thanks to its flexibility and really intuitive structure. I'm talking about document databases.
Instead of just keys and simple values, these databases store data in self-contained documents. These often use a format like JSON, which is really just a way to organize data with labels that's easy for us humans to read. The great thing is, each document can hold complex, nested information all in one place. This makes them absolutely ideal for things like patient records or content management systems, where the data for each item might look a little different. Our third specialist is the heavyweight. It's built for an absolutely enormous scale. If you need to crunch and analyze massive, and I mean massive amounts of data, you call in a wide column store. Now, the genius here is that they organize data in columns instead of rows. That might sound like a small change, but it makes them unbelievably efficient for analytics. Think about it. If you have millions of sensor readings and you only care about the average temperature, the database only has to read that one temperature column. It can just ignore everything else. That's why they're absolute powerhouses for real-time analytics and chewing through log files. And finally, our fourth type, which is all about one thing, relationships. When the connections between your bits of data are the most important part of the puzzle, You need a graph database. These databases store information as nodes. Those are your people, products, or things, and edges, which are the connections between them, like is friends with or bought this. This structure makes them incredibly powerful for mapping out complex networks. They are the perfect tool for social networks, recommendation engines, and even for detecting sophisticated fraud rings by literally following the connections.
Okay, so that's the theory, but what does all this flexible schema stuff actually look like in practice? Let's take a look and see it in action.
So here we have a sample patient record. In a traditional database, you'd need a bunch of different tables all linked together, one for patients, one for conditions, another for doctors. But here, it's all in one self-contained document. Notice how the conditions field is just a list that can hold one item or 10, and the doctor's info is nested right inside the patient's record. You don't have to go look it up somewhere else. That flexibility is what makes NoSQL so powerful. And just to be crystal clear, just because they're flexible doesn't mean they're not real databases. Absolutely not. You can still perform all the fundamental operations you'd expect, adding new data, finding it, changing it, and of course, removing it. All the basics are there. So, we've seen what NoSQL is and what it can do. But the million-dollar question is, how do you decide if it's the right choice for your project? Let's break down the final verdict. It is crucial to understand the trade-offs. The advantages are huge: massive scalability, the freedom to handle messy data, and often much faster performance. But there are downsides. There's no single standard query language like good old SQL that works for everything. Managing data consistency can be more complex, and sometimes even backups can get tricky. NoSQL is a seriously powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet for every single problem. So the key takeaway is this: you reach for a NoSQL database when you're facing specific kinds of challenges. When you're dealing with big data and high traffic. When your data just refuses to fit into neat little tables. When you need to scale out by just adding more servers. And when raw performance is your absolute top priority. That's its sweet spot. NoSQL was born out of the challenges that came with the modern web and big data. It was a revolutionary answer to a completely new set of problems. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As our world gets even more connected and even more data-driven, what new challenges are going to pop up? And what kind of database will we need to invent to solve them?